Hey everyone, a little bit early tonight because we've got to go and applaud the NHS, so I hope that you're joining in with that. Moving on from what I was talking about yesterday, we were talking about established labour. Tonight I'm talking about transition, and basically you keep going through established labour until you reach the point when you feel like a weird heaviness, push sensations, possibly feels like you need a poo, those kind of sensations, and then you're at transition. And some people call it the hardest stage of labour. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think as long as you know what transition is, and why it's that way and how you cope with it, definitely makes transition so much easier. I'm pretty sure I was still at home when I was in transition. So what's happening in transition? The word transition literally means change. And the change that's happening during this stage is that for every surge up until this point, you've been breathing through it, whereas after transition, you're going to be pushing through the surge. You're going to be bearing down through the surge. And that wanting to push doesn't happen immediately. It's not like one surge you breathe in and then the next surge you push in. There's like an overlap period where you're having surges, and you're not sure whether you should be breathing, you're not sure whether you should be pushing. You're kind of getting mixed signals to do both of them. Is that Sarah? Is that you, Sarah? I can see in the corner. You're getting mixed signals to breathe and to push. Because the urge to push isn't quite strong enough for you to be like going for it yet. But it is there. So that's what transition means, that changeover period where the urge to push starts building up. And at the start of transition, you might be saying things like, oh, I've got a lot of pressure, or oh, it feels like I need a poo. That's what it feels like. And as you have more surges, I thought it was you, Sarah. It's lovely to see you on here. I thought I recognised your picture. As more surges go on, then you might be saying or thinking things like, oh, I could have pushed then, or I think I was pushing then. And then as you come out the other side of transition, you'll be like, I am pushing and there is nothing I could do about it. That is what's happening in transition. That needing and wanting to push is building up. If somebody was to examine you internally during transition, you'd be about 9 centimetres. Okay, good. I knew the end was near. Exactly. I think I was in the car. I know I've told you my birth story, Sarah. I felt all right during transition, and I'm pretty sure that's because I knew what it was and how it was, how it was playing out. Same for you. Yeah, you'd be about 9 centimetres dilated, maybe a little bit more. So your cervix has all but nearly been drawn up into the uterus, and baby's head is just about to start moving down the vagina. Most women's waters will break during this stage. They can obviously go at any point during labour. They can even go before labour starts. But for the vast majority of women, they will release during transition. So actually not that long before baby is born. You get a big jolt of adrenaline in your system during transition. So that kind of tingly pins and needles, on edge potentially type of feeling. All really normal. And because you might have been quite sleepy in labour up until this point, feeling a bit tired, maybe having a little snooze during your rest periods, Mother Nature gives you a big dose of adrenaline, basically to wake you up ready to give birth, because giving birth is quite a physical, strenuous task. And she pumps you full of adrenaline, so you're like enlivened, so to speak. Another reason that both me and Sarah are called Lionhearts. And yeah, so you can get kind of you can get shaky legs during this stage. That's because of the adrenaline. You can feel a bit hot 1 minute, a bit cold 1 minute. It's like moving between different emotions. And your rest periods between your surges get a lot shorter during this stage. The rest periods come back later on, don't worry. But for this short stage of labour, you have about a 1 minute rest period compared to a 1 minute surge. So you'll have a surge lasting about a minute from start to finish, with some starts of wanting to push during that surge as well, and then about a 1 minute rest period before another surge begins. Hi Emma. Before another surge begins, and then so you might be feeling like you've only just kind of started resting from the last one and another one starting. That's really normal. So these are things that you can look out for. Water's releasing, urges wanting to push, feeling like you need a poo, those kind of, you might be feeling things like that, feeling a bit hot, a bit cold, a bit shaky. What else? I've missed one. It'll come back to me in a minute. Transition lasts about 10 minutes, maybe 30 minutes max. It's probably the shortest stage of labour. It doesn't get very much attention on a lot of like antenatal education programs. It barely gets a mention. And I could well imagine that if you don't know what transition is, it could feel quite nerve-wracking. Suddenly to go from quite sleepy and like tired to like boom, wide awake in the room with all these strange sensations going on. It was possibly a tiny bit too late, but it worked for us. I made my way to hospital during transition, and we were pretty calm because of everything I'd learned on how to cope with transition. But there's just a little bit of information. Ali, congratulations, our newest second timer for Lionheart Hypnobirthing with me, Ali. It's lovely to have you on here. I've just sent you a little message. That is transition, and just knowing about it, knowing what it is, knowing what's happening during that stage will definitely help you to stay calmer. And next week, it might be next week or it might be the week after, and I'll go through some comfort measures to help you cope with the different stages of labour. But that is transition in a nutshell. Sorry, I'm keeping it short. I'm just looking at the time, and we're actually gonna go outside and clap the NHS now. So I hope you are too. It might just be us in our road, stood outside on our own clapping, but so what? Those people deserve a bloody medal, don't they? I've just launched my virtual hypnobirthing course dates today. Half of them have gone already. I can't believe it. It's the cheapest course I've ever run, because I know people, everybody's in a different boat at the moment depending on their employment status during all of this that's going on. So I've tried to keep the price as low as I can. You'll see it on my events page. And there's loads more I can teach you about labour and birth and what I'm doing on these little snippets. So go out into the street now, everybody, and let's clap and cheer and look like nutters, but let's, send some positive vibes out to all the NHS workers and what they're doing at the moment. All right, have a fab night, everybody. Bye.